everyone, it's Jessica, and today I'm going to be reviewing the TooFaced Born This Way foundation. Now this is a really pricey foundation. In my opinion, it's $39 at Ulta, Sephora, wherever you're going to buy it, and that's expensive for a foundation that you're going to run out of. So I wanted to show you guys what it looks like when I apply it to my face. I'm wearing it today, and then afterwards we'll talk about kind of whether or not I think it's worth the price tag. Okay, so the packaging has a pump, which of course I really like, and you can actually control how much comes out, which is really, really nice. So I'm gonna get about a pump's worth. I'm just gonna kind of dot it everywhere. I'm not using a primer, I don't usually, just because, for these I mean. Well, I don't really use a primer anyway, but a lot of people don't wear primer. I look awesome. So I didn't want that to kind of sway my opinion of this foundation, whether or not I used a primer or what primer I actually use, things like that. So I'm going to use the Real Techniques beauty, well, they call it a beauty sponge, which I have fallen in love with, and I'm usually obsessed with the beauty blender, but this one's really, really nice. And I'm just going to use the really broad side of it, and I'm just going to start in the middle and just kind of push it into my skin. And this foundation, I really like it so far. It makes my skin, which I've got pretty normal skin. It can look oily in the summer and it can look dry in the winter, so it's kind of combo depending on the area of my face, but it just seems to suit my skin type really well because it doesn't make your skin look too matte, but it also doesn't make it look too dry. It's right in between. So it makes my skin look really kind of satiny in a way. I think this would be an awesome foundation in the winter time because it's not drying. I think in the summer, for this to work for me, which I've been wearing it this summer, you have to set it with the powder. Like in my T-zone, you can already kind of see, but I really like that look to it. And once I've got some, concealer on, and of course the rest of my makeup looks even better, but I really like the way that this looks. Now, I usually have like a lot of freckles coming through, but it's not coming through as bad, but my nose is like always red. So I'm gonna grab what was left on the little pump there and just put a little bit more on my nose and just press that in. And that's pretty much it. I liked using the beauty blender for this. I've used it with my hands and it actually looks really nice too. With a brush it looks fine, but I just really like this Real Techniques beauty blender, and they're like $10 or so, somewhere around there at Ulta and at the drugstore, wherever, and they are amazing. So if you have been waiting because you're not sure about the beauty blender or whatever, get this one, it's amazing. So I did notice it's been about an hour and I'm kind of continuing to get ready while getting some laundry and things done, and it really is pretty oily. So I'm gonna set my T-zone. I'm just using the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder in Translucent, just a little bit to see if it helps with it. Like I said, I'm not done. I haven't like contoured or blushed or anything, but it already is looking better. I'm actually going to be using something to cover this area, so I don't want to do anything to that so it doesn't mess with the demo, but I did want, I was like an oil slick. So now I feel like I should rescind my thing about it being okay in the summer, because it really, like I said, you do have to set it, but that was more oily than I had remembered. So as I'm getting to know this product, I'm kind of learning a little bit more about my own skin with it. So you do have to set it. So as you saw, it does have very nice coverage, and the claims behind this foundation are that it has medium to full coverage and that it's supposed to have a radiant finish, and I would agree with both of those claims. I would definitely say it has a radiant finish, if not too radiant, and I think that if you have oily skin, I don't think you would love this foundation. Even I don't really have oily skin, like truly oily skin, and yet I still, after setting it with powder, it still is shining through. Now I don't mind this amount of shine, but people that do mind that, or if you have oilier skin than I do, I don't think you'll like this. Now, if you've got dry skin, I think you would love this foundation. It adds that dewy radiance that you're probably looking for, unless you like a really matte finish. The packaging, of course, is beautiful, as Too Faced packaging always is, and I love the pump and how it's actually controllable, where you can get a little bit out or a lot of it out. You can actually control how much foundation comes out when you pump it. Pump it louder. Pump it louder. They have, the shade range of this, they only have 12 shades, and just looking at it, it doesn't go as deep as it should. It really, it stops at like a kind of caramel-y color. So, oh, it's literally called caramel. So I do think the shade range is something they would need to fix. This didn't have a noticeable smell to me at all. Some foundations really have smells that you notice. I didn't notice the smell at all, so if you're really sensitive, I think this would be a good option for you if you're sensitive to a lot of the smells. It doesn't feel tacky, and it never really felt tacky putting it on. It's kind of the perfect line between thin and thick. It's like right in the middle, and so it's just easy to apply, whether it's with a brush or a beauty blender or your hands. Really easy to apply. It doesn't feel sticky. It's a really, really nice formula. The wear time on this depends on your skin, because I'm right in between oily and dry, just kind of combo, and it doesn't necessarily break up, but it just looks so oily about 5 hours into the day in the summertime. So I do have to continually touch it up. So I don't think this is gonna be my #1 option for the summer, like I'd mentioned, but for the winter, this might be my favorite, because I'm so dry in the winter, and this actually might make my skin look semi-alive, because I look just like gray and terrible in the winter time. So I'm really excited to try this out when my skin starts to dry out a little bit. So coupons for Too Faced, I would say this is something that whenever like Sephora does their 20% off deals that you can actually use, and Ulta sometimes they have their 20% off thing, but sometimes they'll have one, like I feel like it's once a year where you can actually use it on high-end products. I would say wait if you're not sure about this, but you're pretty sure. Maybe wait until one of those times of the year so you can get 20% off of like essentially $40 is what, $8 off. So that's still a nice cut into it. Otherwise, $40 is just a lot for this. So I pulled out a few drugstore options in case you're wanting a similar finish to this. This reminds me of the CoverGirl, what is it called? Stay Luminous foundation. It's new at the drugstore. It's got that same luminous finish, but it also has some coverage. I think that the Too Faced one has more coverage than this, but it's still pretty good, and you could just layer on maybe an extra layer to get the similar effect. But it has that same thing where if you're oily, I would stay away, but if you're not, and you want something, this is a great option. It also has a pump, and it's way cheaper. I also really like my Rimmel Lasting Finish foundation. Now this one is not as oily, so I think if you do have oily skin and you want kind of a similar foundation, but not as luminous, this is a great option. This will give you like a satin finish, and it is my favorite, favorite, favorite. I love this foundation so much, and it's like under $10 at the drugstore as well. So overall, would I recommend it? I think you know my feelings on it. I would recommend it if you have the right skin type and you've got the budget. If not, go for one of the drugstore options. They're just as good. I'll continue to use all three of those, but those are kind of my 2 cents on it. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. I can link my entire review demo playlist where I review a lot of drugstore foundations and other things like that if you are interested. Please subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.